Picture this moment. You're standing at a crossroads. On one path, you maintain the same knowledge, the same skills, the same habits you've always had, watching as the world rapidly evolves around you. On the other path, you commit to learning. Just one new thing each day, and 12 months from now, you've gained 365 new insights, skills, or perspectives that have transformed your career, your finances, and your entire worldview. This isn't just a hypothetical scenario. It's the reality faced by two former colleagues of mine, both equally talented, both with the same starting salary. 5 years later, one earns triple the income, has been promoted 3 times, and is considered an industry expert. The difference? 30 minutes of deliberate learning every single day. Over the next few hours, you'll discover exactly how to harness the extraordinary power of daily self-education, practical techniques you can implement today for immediate results, the specific morning routine that top performers use to stay ahead, and the hidden psychology behind why most people stop learning after formal education ends, and how you can break free from this trap. You'll learn the exact methods I've used to master 6 languages, double my income in 18 months, and build expertise in multiple fields without spending a fortune on formal education. Before we dive deeper, if you're finding value in this audiobook and want more insightful content like this, be sure to follow and subscribe. Your support means the world to us. Now, let's continue. Think about the last time you learned something truly transformative. Perhaps it was a skill that opened a new career door, or knowledge that saved you thousands of dollars, or an insight that fundamentally changed how you approach relationships. Now imagine experiencing that level of transformation not just occasionally, but consistently, week after week, month after month. This is the reality for those who embrace daily self-education. The truth is, we're living in an era of unprecedented change. The World Economic Forum reports that 65% of children entering primary school today will ultimately work in jobs that don't yet exist. The half-life of skills is shrinking rapidly. What you learned in college might be outdated by the time you pay off your student loans. In this environment, continuous learning isn't just an advantage, it's survival. Yet, despite this reality, research shows that the average adult reads less than 1 book per year after finishing formal education. Most people spend more time planning their annual vacation than they do planning their intellectual growth. This creates an extraordinary opportunity for those willing to commit to daily learning. You don't need to be a genius. You don't need unlimited resources. You simply need the right approach and consistent effort. Let me share a personal example that changed my perspective forever. 5 years ago, I was working as a mid-level manager, feeling stuck in my career. I decided to conduct an experiment. Every morning before work, I would dedicate 30 minutes to learning something new in my field. No exceptions. Rain or shine. Weekday or weekend. The results were subtle at first. I found myself contributing more in meetings, spotting opportunities. Others missed, solving problems more creatively. Within 6 months, I was leading projects I previously would have been intimidated by. Within a year, I received a promotion. Within 2 years, I was consulting for other companies in my industry. The compound effect of daily learning had transformed not just my knowledge, but my entire professional trajectory. This transformation is available to anyone willing to embrace it. The key lies in understanding that education isn't something that ends with a diploma. It's a lifelong journey that, when approached strategically, can place you in the top 1% of any field you choose to pursue. Consider the mathematics of daily learning. If you dedicate just 30 minutes each day to focused education, that's over 180 hours per year. That's equivalent to taking 4 college courses. Over 5 years, you've essentially completed the equivalent of a master's degree in practical, applicable knowledge. But unlike formal education, which often lags behind industry trends, Your self-directed learning can be immediately relevant to your goals and challenges. The most successful people in any field share one common trait. They never stop learning. Warren Buffett spends 80% of his day reading. Bill Gates takes a Think Week twice a year dedicated solely to learning. Oprah Winfrey attributes much of her success to her voracious reading habits. These individuals understand that knowledge compounds like interest. The more you learn, the easier it becomes to learn more, creating an upward spiral of capability and opportunity. But here's where most people get it wrong. They approach learning as a chore, something to be endured rather than embraced. They wait for motivation to strike. They lack a systematic approach. They choose topics randomly without strategic purpose. This audiobook will show you a better way. We'll explore the neuroscience of effective learning, understanding how your brain forms new connections and retains information. You'll discover why traditional study methods often fail, and what cognitive research reveals about optimal learning techniques. We'll delve into the art of choosing what to learn, ensuring that your education directly aligns with your personal and professional goals. You'll learn how to create an environment that makes learning inevitable rather than optional. This includes physical spaces, digital tools, and social connections that support your educational journey. We'll address the common obstacles that derail most people's learning efforts: lack of time, information overload, difficulty retaining information, and the challenge of applying knowledge in real-world situations. Perhaps most importantly, you'll discover how to make learning enjoyable and sustainable. This isn't about forcing yourself through boring textbooks or lectures. It's about tapping into your natural curiosity, leveraging modern technology, and creating habits that make education as natural as breathing. The digital age has democratized education in ways our ancestors could never have imagined. You have access to the world's knowledge through your smartphone. Leading universities offer courses for free. Experts in any field share their insights through podcasts, blogs, and social media. The barrier to education is no longer access to information, but rather the skill of navigating and applying this vast sea of knowledge effectively. Throughout this audiobook, we'll explore specific strategies for different learning styles and goals. Whether you're looking to advance in your career, start a business, improve your relationships, or simply become a more well-rounded individual, you'll find practical techniques tailored to your needs. We'll examine case studies of individuals who transformed their lives through daily learning. From the single mother who taught herself programming and landed a six-figure tech job, to the retiree who became a successful day trader through consistent financial education, to the artist who expanded into digital media and tripled her income. These aren't extraordinary people with special talents. They're ordinary individuals who made an extraordinary commitment to growth. You'll discover the power of micro-learning, how small, consistent efforts can lead to massive results over time. We'll explore the concept of just-in-time learning, acquiring knowledge precisely when you need it for maximum retention and application. You'll learn how to leverage technology effectively, using apps, online platforms, and digital tools to accelerate your learning without becoming overwhelmed. We'll also address the psychological aspects of continuous education. How to overcome imposter syndrome as you enter new fields of knowledge. How to maintain motivation when progress seems slow. How to deal with the discomfort of being a beginner repeatedly. These mental skills are just as important as the learning techniques themselves. One of the most powerful concepts we'll explore is the idea of learning stacks, combining complementary skills and knowledge areas for exponential results. For example, combining public speaking with industry expertise or technical skills with emotional intelligence. These combinations create unique value propositions that set you apart in any field. You'll learn how to measure your learning progress effectively, ensuring that your efforts translate into tangible results. We'll discuss how to build a personal knowledge management system, organizing and retrieving information efficiently. This prevents the common problem of learning without retention, where information flows through your mind without leaving lasting impact. We'll explore the social dimension of learning, how to build networks of fellow learners, find mentors, and create accountability systems that keep you on track. Learning doesn't have to be a solitary journey. In fact, it's often more effective when shared with others. The financial implications of continuous learning are staggering. Studies show that individuals who engage in regular self-education earn significantly more over their lifetimes than those who don't. But beyond monetary rewards, continuous learners report higher job satisfaction, greater resilience during economic downturns, and more opportunities for meaningful work. We'll delve into the concept of learning ROI, return on investment, helping you choose educational pursuits that offer the greatest personal and professional returns. Not all learning is created equal, and strategic choices can dramatically accelerate your progress toward your goals. You'll discover how to learn from failure, turning setbacks into valuable lessons. We'll explore the growth mindset, understanding how your beliefs about learning ability affect your actual capacity to learn. You'll learn techniques for overcoming learning plateaus, those frustrating periods where progress seems to stall. We'll examine how different cultures approach learning and what we can adopt from global educational practices. From the Finnish emphasis on play-based learning to the Asian focus on mastery through repetition, different approaches offer valuable insights for your personal learning journey. The workplace is evolving rapidly, and the skills that got you here won't necessarily get you there. We'll explore future-proof learning strategies, helping you anticipate and prepare for emerging trends in your industry. You'll learn how to identify skills gaps before they become career limitations. You'll discover the power of cross-disciplinary learning, how knowledge from seemingly unrelated fields can provide breakthrough insights in your primary area of focus. History's greatest innovators often made connections between disparate fields, and you'll learn how to cultivate this ability. We'll address the challenge of information overload in the digital age. With more content created every day than you could consume in a lifetime, the ability to filter, prioritize, and extract value from information becomes crucial. You'll learn techniques for efficient information processing and avoiding the paralysis that comes from too many options. The concept of deliberate practice will feature prominently in our exploration. Not all practice leads to improvement. You'll learn the specific characteristics that separate effective practice from mere repetition, ensuring that your learning efforts produce maximum results. We'll explore how to leverage your natural rhythms for optimal learning. Understanding when your brain is most receptive to new information can dramatically improve retention and comprehension. You'll discover how to align your learning schedule with your biological clock for maximum effectiveness. The role of physical health in mental performance cannot be overstated. We'll examine how exercise, nutrition, and sleep affect your ability to learn and retain information. Simple lifestyle adjustments can significantly enhance your cognitive capabilities. You'll learn about the forgetting curve and how to combat it through spaced repetition and active recall techniques. These scientifically proven methods can increase retention rates by up to 300% compared to traditional study methods. We'll explore the power of teaching as a learning tool. The process of explaining concepts to others deepens your own understanding and reveals gaps in your knowledge. You'll discover how to incorporate teaching into your learning routine, even if you're not in a formal educational role. The digital revolution has created new forms of literacy beyond reading and writing. We'll explore data literacy, digital literacy, and emotional literacy as essential skills for the modern world. You'll learn how to develop these capabilities systematically. You'll discover how to create a personal curriculum tailored to your goals and interests. This isn't about following someone else's idea of what you should learn, but rather designing an educational path that aligns with your unique aspirations and circumstances. We'll examine the role of curiosity in lifelong learning and how to cultivate it deliberately. Curiosity is often considered an innate trait, but research shows it can be developed and strengthened through specific practices. The concept of learning agility will be explored in depth. In a rapidly changing world, the ability to learn quickly and adapt to new situations becomes more valuable than static knowledge. You'll discover how to enhance your learning agility for greater career resilience. We'll delve into the neuroscience of habit formation, understanding how to make learning as automatic as brushing your teeth. The goal is to reach a point where not learning feels uncomfortable, where intellectual growth becomes your default state. You'll learn about the power of learning communities and how to find or create them. Whether online or in person, these communities provide support, accountability, and diverse perspectives that enrich your educational journey. We'll explore how to balance depth and breadth in your learning pursuits. While specialization has its place, the most innovative solutions often come from combining insights across multiple domains. You'll learn how to strategically build both specialized expertise and broad knowledge. The importance of reflection in the learning process cannot be overstated. You'll discover techniques for extracting maximum value from your experiences through structured reflection practices. This transforms everyday events into learning opportunities. We'll examine how to learn from the best in any field, deconstructing the practices of top performers to accelerate your own development. This includes techniques for finding mentors, studying role models, and reverse engineering success. You'll discover how to use failure as a learning accelerator rather than a deterrent. The most successful learners have a different relationship with failure, viewing it as valuable feedback rather than a personal shortcoming. We'll explore the concept of learning loops, creating systems that continuously feed new knowledge back into your practice for ongoing improvement. This creates a virtuous cycle where learning and application reinforce each other. The role of technology in modern learning will be examined comprehensively. From AI-powered learning assistants to virtual reality simulations, you'll discover how to leverage cutting-edge tools without becoming dependent on them. You'll learn about the importance of unlearning, the process of letting go of outdated knowledge and beliefs that may be holding you back. In a rapidly changing world, the ability to unlearn is as important as the ability to learn. We'll delve into the psychology of expertise, understanding what separates true experts from mere practitioners. You'll discover the specific practices that accelerate skill development and how to apply them in your own learning journey. The concept of learning transfer will be explored, showing you how to apply knowledge from one domain to another for creative problem solving. This cross-pollination of ideas is often where breakthrough innovations occur. You'll discover how to create a learning environment that supports your goals. This includes physical spaces, digital tools, and social structures that make learning easier and more enjoyable. We'll examine the role of emotion in learning, understanding how to harness positive emotions for better retention while managing the negative emotions that can impede progress. The importance of context in learning will be explored. You'll discover why learning in varied contexts improves retention and application, and how to deliberately create these varied learning experiences. We'll delve into the concept of learning scaffolding, building new knowledge on existing foundations for more efficient learning. This approach respects the natural way your brain processes and stores information. You'll learn about the power of analogies and metaphors in understanding complex concepts. These mental tools can dramatically accelerate comprehension by connecting new ideas to familiar concepts. We'll explore how to develop meta-learning skills, essentially learning how to learn more effectively. These higher-order skills compound over time, making each subsequent learning endeavor more efficient. The role of sleep and memory consolidation will be examined. You'll discover how to optimize your sleep patterns for better learning outcomes, and why pulling all-nighters is counterproductive. We'll delve into the science of motivation, understanding what drives sustained learning effort and how to cultivate intrinsic motivation for lifelong education. You'll discover how to use gamification, principles to make learning more engaging without trivializing the content. The right game elements can significantly enhance motivation and retention. We'll explore the concept of learning sprints, intense periods of focused education followed by integration and reflection. This approach can accelerate skill acquisition while preventing burnout. The importance of learning in public will be examined. Sharing your learning journey can create accountability, attract mentors, and open unexpected opportunities. You'll learn about the power of constraints in learning, how limitations can actually enhance creativity and focus. We'll explore how to use constraints deliberately for better learning outcomes. We'll delve into the neuroscience of attention, understanding how to maintain focus in an age of constant distraction. You'll discover practical techniques for enhancing concentration during learning sessions. The role of physical movement in learning will be explored. Research shows that movement can enhance cognitive function and memory formation. You'll learn how to incorporate movement into your learning routine. We'll examine how to learn from diverse sources, including books, podcasts, videos, courses, mentors, and experiences. Each medium has its strengths, and you'll discover how to leverage them effectively. You'll learn about the importance of learning rhythms, alternating between intense focus and relaxed exploration for optimal results. This natural cycle respects how your brain processes and integrates new information. We'll explore how to build learning resilience, the ability to persist through challenges and setbacks. This psychological strength is crucial for long-term educational success. The concept of learning leverage will be introduced, showing you how to identify and focus on the 20% of knowledge that produces 80% of results in any field. You'll discover how to create learning artifacts, tangible outputs that reinforce your understanding and create resources for future reference. This practice transforms passive consumption into active creation. We'll examine the role of questioning in learning, developing the skill of asking powerful questions that deepen understanding and reveal new insights. The importance of learning. Diversity will be explored, showing why exposure to different perspectives and approaches enhances overall learning capacity. You'll learn about the power of learning rituals, consistent practices that signal to your brain it's time to engage. In focused education, these rituals can dramatically improve learning efficiency. We'll delve into the concept of learning momentum, understanding how to build and maintain forward progress in your educational journey. Small wins create psychological momentum that carries you through challenges. The role of feedback in learning will be examined comprehensively. You'll discover how to seek, interpret, and apply feedback for accelerated improvement. We'll explore how to learn from observation, developing the skill of extracting lessons from watching others in action. This often overlooked learning method can provide valuable insights. You'll discover how to use visualization techniques to enhance learning and skill development. Mental rehearsal can significantly improve performance in various domains. We'll examine the concept of learning ecosystems, creating interconnected systems of resources, practices, and relationships that support continuous education. The importance of learning documentation will be explored. You'll discover how to create effective notes, summaries, and reference materials that enhance retention and application. You'll learn about the power of learning experiments, treating your education as a series of hypotheses to be tested rather than rigid prescriptions to be followed. We'll delve into the psychology of mastery, understanding what it takes to achieve true expertise in any field and how to maintain motivation through the long journey. The role of creativity in learning will be examined. You'll discover how creative approaches can enhance understanding and make learning more enjoyable and effective. We'll explore how to learn from criticism, transforming potentially negative feedback into valuable insights for improvement. You'll discover how to create learning partnerships, collaborative relationships that enhance education through shared exploration and accountability. We'll examine the concept of learning flow states, achieving optimal psychological conditions for deep learning and skill development. The importance of learning celebrations will be explored. Acknowledging progress and milestones creates positive associations that reinforce learning habits. You'll learn about the power of learning storytelling, using narrative techniques to enhance memory and understanding of complex concepts. We'll delve into the science of skill transfer, understanding how abilities developed in one area can enhance performance in others. The role of intuition in learning will be examined. You'll discover how to develop and trust your intuitive understanding while maintaining analytical rigor. We'll explore how to learn from nature, extracting principles and patterns from natural systems that can be applied to human endeavors. You'll discover how to create learning challenges that stretch your abilities without overwhelming them, finding the sweet spot for optimal growth. We'll examine the concept of learning integration, connecting new knowledge with existing understanding for deeper comprehension and retention. The importance of learning patience will be explored. Understanding that significant growth takes time helps maintain motivation through plateaus and challenges. You'll learn about the power of learning frameworks, mental models that organize information and facilitate understanding across domains. We'll delve into the psychology of learning confidence, building self-assurance in your ability to master new skills and knowledge. The role of failure analysis in learning will be examined. You'll discover how to extract maximum value from mistakes and setbacks. We'll explore how to learn from history, understanding patterns and principles that remain relevant across time and context. You'll discover how to create learning accountability, systems that keep you on track without creating undue pressure or stress. We'll examine the concept of learning complementarity, understanding how different skills and knowledge areas can enhance each other synergistically. The importance of learning humility will be explored. Maintaining a beginner's mindset even as you gain expertise keeps you open to new insights. You'll learn about the power of learning visualization, creating mental maps and diagrams that enhance understanding and retention. We'll delve into the science of learning optimization, fine-tuning your approach based on personal strengths and preferences. The role of learning communities in the digital age will be examined. You'll discover how to leverage online platforms for collaborative education. We'll explore how to learn from failure patterns, identifying common pitfalls in your field and developing strategies to avoid them. You'll discover how to create learning feedback loops that provide continuous information about your progress and areas for improvement. We'll examine the concept of learning sustainability, developing practices that you can maintain over the long term without burnout. The importance of learning adaptation will be explored. You'll discover how to adjust your approach based on changing circumstances and goals. You'll learn about the power of learning synthesis, combining insights from multiple sources to create novel understanding. We'll delve into the psychology of learning persistence, developing the mental toughness to continue education through challenges and setbacks. The role of learning environments in cognitive performance will be examined. You'll discover how to optimize your physical and digital spaces for learning. We'll explore how to learn from edge cases, understanding that exceptions and anomalies often provide the deepest insights. You'll discover how to create learning milestones that mark progress and maintain motivation throughout your educational journey. We'll examine the concept of learning elasticity, developing the ability to stretch beyond your comfort zone while maintaining core stability. The importance of learning reflection will be explored. You'll discover how regular contemplation enhances understanding and retention. You'll learn about the power of learning immersion, creating intensive educational experiences that accelerate skill development. We'll delve into the science of learning timing, understanding when to push forward and when to allow for consolidation and integration. The role of learning diversity in innovation will be examined. You'll discover how exposure to varied perspectives enhances creative problem-solving. We'll explore how to learn from constraints, using limitations as catalysts for creative solutions and deeper understanding. You'll discover how to create learning rituals that prepare your mind for optimal absorption and retention of new information. We'll examine the concept of learning leverage points, identifying key areas where small improvements yield disproportionate results. The importance of learning calibration will be explored. You'll discover how to accurately assess your understanding and adjust accordingly. You'll learn about the power of learning metaphors, using familiar concepts to understand complex new ideas more easily. We'll delve into the psychology of learning, identity, understanding how your self-concept affects your ability to acquire new skills and knowledge. The role of learning documentation in knowledge management will be examined. You'll discover how to create effective personal knowledge bases. We'll explore how to learn from paradoxes, understanding that apparent contradictions often contain profound insights. You'll discover how to create learning experiments that test assumptions and validate understanding through practical application. We'll examine the concept of learning orchestration, coordinating multiple educational activities for synergistic results. The importance of learning intuition will be explored. You'll discover how to develop and trust your instinctive understanding while maintaining critical thinking. You'll learn about the power of learning frameworks, mental models that organize information and facilitate cross-domain application. We'll delve into the science of learning retention, understanding how to make new knowledge stick for the long term. The role of learning motivation in sustained education will be examined. You'll discover how to maintain enthusiasm through inevitable challenges. We'll explore how to learn from analogies, using similarities between different domains to accelerate understanding and insight. You'll discover how to create learning, portfolios that document your growth and provide tangible evidence of your expanding capabilities. We'll examine the concept of learning velocity, understanding how to accelerate skill acquisition without sacrificing depth or quality. The importance of learning balance will be explored. You'll discover how to maintain equilibrium between different types of knowledge and skills. You'll learn about the power of learning questions, developing the art of inquiry that drives deeper understanding and discovery. We'll delve into the psychology of learning confidence, building self-assurance that supports continued growth and exploration. The role of learning feedback in skill development will be examined. You'll discover how to seek and utilize constructive criticism effectively. We'll explore how to learn from patterns, identifying recurring themes and principles that apply across multiple domains. You'll discover how to create learning systems that automate and streamline your educational processes for maximum efficiency. We'll examine the concept of learning resonance, understanding how to align your education with your natural interests and strengths. The importance of learning authenticity will be explored. You'll discover how to maintain genuine curiosity and avoid performative education. You'll learn about the power of learning connections, building networks that support and enhance your educational journey. We'll delve into the science of learning, neuroplasticity, understanding how your brain physically changes through education and how to optimize this process. The role of learning mindfulness in attention and retention will be examined. You'll discover how present moment awareness enhances learning. We'll explore how to learn from complexity, developing comfort with ambiguity and the ability to navigate uncertain situations. You'll discover how to create learning challenges that push your boundaries while remaining achievable and motivating. We'll examine the concept of learning ecology, understanding how different educational elements interact and support each other. The importance of learning celebration will be explored. You'll discover how acknowledging progress reinforces positive learning behaviors. You'll learn about the power of learning storytelling, using narrative techniques to enhance memory and engagement with new material. We'll delve into the psychology of learning resilience, developing the ability to bounce back from setbacks and maintain forward momentum. The role of learning creativity and problem-solving will be examined. You'll discover how to approach challenges from novel angles. We'll explore how to learn from mentors, maximizing the value of guidance from those who have traveled the path before you. You'll discover how to create learning artifacts that serve as both documentation and teaching tools for others. We'll examine the concept of learning flow, achieving states of optimal engagement where time seems to disappear and learning accelerates. The importance of learning integration will be explored. You'll discover how to connect new knowledge with existing understanding for deeper insight. You'll learn about the power of learning experiments, treating education as a series of hypotheses to be tested and refined. We'll delve into the science of learning transfer, understanding how skills and knowledge can be applied across different domains. The role of learning environment in cognitive performance will be examined. You'll discover how to optimize your surroundings for maximum learning. We'll explore how to learn from failure, transforming setbacks into valuable lessons that accelerate future progress. You'll discover how to create learning routines that make education a natural and enjoyable part of your daily life. We'll examine the concept of learning mastery, understanding what it takes to achieve true expertise in any field. The importance of learning patience will be explored. You'll discover how to maintain motivation through the inevitable plateaus in skill development. You'll learn about the power of learning synthesis, combining insights from multiple sources to create novel understanding. We'll delve into the psychology of learning identity, understanding how your self-concept influences your educational journey. The role of learning technology in modern education will be examined. You'll discover how to leverage digital tools without becoming dependent on them. We'll explore how to learn from observation, developing the skill of extracting lessons from watching others in action. You'll discover how to create learning partnerships that provide mutual support and accountability in your educational pursuits. We'll examine the concept of learning optimization, fine-tuning your approach based on personal strengths and learning style. The importance of learning reflection will be explored. You'll discover how contemplation enhances understanding and retention. Now let's delve deeper into the specific methodologies that will revolutionize your approach to daily learning. The first critical component is what I call the learning architecture framework. This isn't just another productivity system. It's a comprehensive approach to structuring your intellectual growth for maximum impact. Think of your brain as a sophisticated computer. Without the right operating system and applications, even the most powerful hardware remains underutilized. The learning architecture framework provides that operating system. It consists of 5 interconnected pillars: strategic selection, systematic absorption, active integration, practical application, and reflective refinement. Strategic selection begins with understanding your personal learning objectives. Are you seeking career advancement, entrepreneurial success, personal enrichment, or a combination of these? Your goals determine your curriculum. I once worked with a marketing professional who felt overwhelmed by the endless array of online courses and books available. By mapping her learning to specific career milestones, she narrowed her focus to data analytics and consumer psychology, leading to a promotion within 8 months. The process of strategic selection requires what I call future backward planning. Start by envisioning where you want to be in 5 years. What skills, knowledge, and capabilities will that future version of you possess? Now work backward, identifying the learning milestones needed to bridge the gap between your current state and your desired future. This creates a learning roadmap that transforms abstract goals into concrete educational objectives. Consider the T-shaped skill model when selecting what to learn. The vertical bar represents deep expertise in your core field, while the horizontal bar represents broad knowledge across related disciplines. This combination creates versatility and innovation potential. For instance, a software developer might develop deep expertise in machine learning while building broad knowledge in psychology, design, and business strategy. This cross-pollination of skills often leads to breakthrough innovations. Systematic absorption involves creating optimal conditions for learning. This means understanding your chronotype, the natural rhythm of your energy and alertness throughout the day. Morning larks might schedule their most challenging learning for early hours, while night owls might find their peak cognitive performance after sunset. Research from the University of California shows that aligning learning with your natural rhythms can improve retention by up to 40%. But systematic absorption goes beyond timing. It encompasses the entire learning environment. Create what I call a learning sanctuary, a physical or digital space optimized for focus and retention. This might include specific lighting conditions, background sounds, or even scents that enhance cognitive performance. Studies show that consistent environmental cues can trigger a learning state, making it easier to enter deep focus. The concept of cognitive priming plays a crucial role here. Before each learning session, spend 5 minutes reviewing your goals and visualizing successful outcomes. This mental preparation activates relevant neural networks and enhances receptivity to new information. It's like warming up before physical exercise, preparing your brain for optimal performance. Active integration transforms passive consumption into active engagement. Instead of simply reading or watching content, you're constantly asking, how does this connect to what I already know? How can I apply this immediately? What questions does this raise? This approach creates neural pathways that strengthen memory and understanding. The elaborative interrogation technique takes this further. For every new concept, ask yourself why it's true, how it works, and what implications it has. This deep processing creates multiple memory traces, making information easier to recall and apply. Research shows that students who use elaborative interrogation perform significantly better on both immediate and delayed tests. Create what I call knowledge webs, visual representations of how different concepts interconnect. These aren't simple mind maps, but dynamic systems that show relationships, dependencies, and applications. Digital tools like Obsidian or Roam Research can help create these interconnected knowledge bases, but even simple paper diagrams can be powerful. Practical application is where theory meets reality. Knowledge without application is like a seed that never gets planted. Create opportunities to use your new skills immediately. If you're learning a language, find conversation partners. If you're studying marketing, offer to help a local business with their strategy. Real-world application cements learning far more effectively than any amount of theoretical study. The application sprint method involves dedicating 1 week to intensively applying a newly learned skill. During this period, seek every possible opportunity to use what you've learned. This concentrated practice creates rapid skill development and reveals practical challenges that theoretical study might miss. Develop what I call learning projects, concrete initiatives that require you to apply multiple skills simultaneously. These projects should be challenging enough to stretch your abilities but achievable enough to maintain motivation. Document your progress, challenges, and solutions. This creates a portfolio that demonstrates your capabilities while reinforcing your learning. Reflective refinement completes the cycle. Regular review and adjustment of your learning process ensures continuous improvement. Keep a learning journal where you document insights, challenges, and breakthroughs. This metacognitive practice, thinking about your thinking, accelerates skill acquisition and helps identify patterns in your learning style. The after-action review process, borrowed from military training, involves systematically analyzing your learning experiences. What was supposed to happen? What actually happened? Why was there a difference? What can be improved? This structured reflection transforms every learning experience into an opportunity for process improvement. Let me share a powerful technique I call the knowledge compression method. Most people try to remember everything they learn, which is neither possible nor necessary. Instead, focus on extracting the core principles and creating mental models. For every hour of learning, spend 10 minutes distilling the key insights into a single page of notes. Over time, these compressed knowledge packets become powerful tools for rapid recall and application. The principal extraction technique involves identifying the fundamental rules or patterns that underlie complex information. For instance, instead of memorizing dozens of marketing tactics, understand the core principles of human psychology that make them effective. This approach reduces cognitive load while increasing the versatility of your knowledge. Create what I call insight cards, physical or digital notes that capture a single powerful idea from your learning. Include the concept, its applications, and connections to other ideas. Review these cards regularly, adding new connections as your understanding deepens. This creates a personal knowledge base that grows more valuable over time. The science of neuroplasticity reveals that our brains continue forming new connections throughout our lives. However, these connections strengthen through repeated use. This is why the concept of learning loops is so crucial. Instead of moving linearly from one topic to another, create circular patterns where you revisit and build upon previous knowledge. Each iteration deepens understanding and reveals new connections. The spiral learning method involves returning to core concepts at increasingly sophisticated levels. Begin with basic understanding, then revisit with more nuanced perspectives, practical applications, and theoretical extensions. This creates a three-dimensional understanding that linear learning cannot achieve. Implement what I call knowledge layering, where each new learning experience builds upon and reinforces previous knowledge. This creates a robust mental framework that resists forgetting and facilitates creative connections. Think of it as constructing a building where each floor depends on and strengthens those below it. Consider the story of Maria, a retail manager, who transformed her career through strategic learning loops. She began with basic digital marketing, then moved to data analytics, then customer experience design. But instead of treating these as separate subjects, she continuously cycled back, applying analytics to her marketing efforts and using customer insights to refine her data collection. Within 2 years, she launched her own successful e-commerce consultancy. Maria's success illustrates the power of what I call synergistic learning paths. Instead of pursuing isolated skills, she created a learning journey where each new competency amplified the value of previous ones. This multiplicative effect creates exponential career growth rather than linear progression. The digital age has given us unprecedented access to information, but this abundance can lead to what psychologists call decision fatigue. The learning curation system addresses this challenge. It involves creating a personalized filter for information intake. Develop criteria for evaluating learning resources based on credibility, relevance, and practical value. This prevents the paralysis that comes from too many options. The signal-to-noise ratio principle applies to learning as much as to communication. Identify high-signal sources that consistently provide valuable insights and filter out low-value noise. This might mean unfollowing certain social media accounts, unsubscribing from newsletters, or being selective about which conferences you attend. Create what I call learning streams, curated flows, of information tailored to your specific goals. Use RSS feeds, email newsletters, and content aggregators to bring relevant information to you rather than constantly searching for it. This passive collection system ensures you stay updated without becoming overwhelmed. One often overlooked aspect of self-education is the power of learning partnerships. Find someone with complementary skills or similar goals and create a mutual accountability system. Share resources, discuss insights, and challenge each other's understanding. Research from Harvard Business School shows that peer learning can increase retention rates by up to 70%. The learning dyad approach involves partnering with someone at a similar skill level but with different strengths. Meet regularly to teach each other what you've learned. This reciprocal teaching reinforces your own understanding while exposing you to different perspectives and learning styles. Create or join what I call mastermind circles, small groups of committed learners who meet regularly to share progress, challenges, and insights. These circles provide accountability, diverse perspectives, and collective problem-solving capabilities that accelerate individual growth. The concept of just-in-time learning revolutionizes how we approach skill acquisition. Instead of trying to learn everything in advance, focus on acquiring knowledge precisely when you need it. This approach leverages the brain's natural tendency to prioritize immediately relevant information. When facing a specific challenge at work, that's the perfect time to deep dive into related skills. The learning trigger system involves identifying situations that signal the need for specific knowledge. Create a database of resources mapped to common challenges or opportunities. When a trigger occurs, you know exactly where to find the needed information, making learning both efficient and immediately applicable. Develop what I call contextual learning protocols, predetermined learning paths activated by specific circumstances. For instance, when taking on a new project type, automatically trigger a review of relevant case studies, best practices, and potential pitfalls. This proactive approach prevents common mistakes and accelerates competency. Let's explore the psychology of learning momentum. Starting is often the hardest part, but once you begin, each small success creates a dopamine release that motivates further action. This is why micro-learning sessions of just 15 minutes can be more effective than marathon study sessions. The key is consistency over intensity. The 2-minute rule for learning states that if a learning task takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. This might be reviewing a flashcard, reading a short article, or watching a quick tutorial. These micro-actions accumulate into significant progress while building the habit of continuous learning. Create what I call learning chains, where completing one small learning task automatically triggers the next. This creates a self-perpetuating cycle of education that requires minimal willpower to maintain. The key is making each link in the chain small enough to feel effortless. The learning stack strategy involves layering complementary skills to create unique value propositions. For example, combining coding skills with design sensibility, or financial acumen with emotional intelligence. These combinations create what economists call comparative advantage, setting you apart in any field. The T Skill Synergy Matrix helps identify powerful skill combinations. Map your existing capabilities and potential learning areas. Then look for intersections that create unique value. Often, the most valuable combinations aren't obvious, requiring creative thinking to identify. Develop what I call hybrid expertise, deep knowledge in seemingly unrelated fields that create unexpected value when combined. History shows that many breakthrough innovations come from applying insights from one domain to problems in another. Environmental design plays a crucial role in learning success. Create physical and digital spaces that minimize friction and maximize focus. This might mean setting up a dedicated learning corner in your home, using website blockers during study time, or creating playlists that enhance concentration. Small environmental tweaks can yield significant improvements in learning efficiency. The cognitive environment design principle involves optimizing your surroundings for different types of learning activities. Create distinct spaces or setups for deep reading, practical exercises, creative thinking, and collaborative learning. These environmental cues help your brain switch between different learning modes more effectively. Implement what I call learning rituals, consistent routines, that prepare your mind and body for focused education. This might include specific breathing exercises, arranging your workspace in a particular way, or listening to certain music. These rituals create psychological anchors that facilitate entry into learning states. The concept of learning debt is similar to technical debt in software development. When we skip foundational knowledge to rush toward advanced topics, we accumulate learning debt that eventually needs to be paid. Avoid this trap by ensuring solid understanding of basics before advancing. This might feel slower initially, but accelerates long-term progress. The Foundation First Principle states that time invested in mastering fundamentals pays exponential dividends in advanced learning. Create what I call knowledge audits, regular assessments that identify gaps in your foundational understanding. Address these gaps systematically to prevent future learning bottlenecks. Develop learning dependencies maps that show how different concepts build upon each other. This visual representation helps prioritize learning activities and ensures you don't attempt advanced topics without necessary prerequisites. It's like creating a curriculum for yourself based on logical progression, rather than arbitrary sequencing. Cognitive load theory explains why multitasking destroys learning efficiency. Our working memory has limited capacity, and dividing attention reduces comprehension and retention. Practice monotasking during learning sessions. Give your full attention to one concept at a time. This focused approach leads to deeper understanding and better recall. The single-thread learning approach involves dedicating specific time blocks to individual topics without switching contexts. Research shows that it takes an average of 23 minutes to fully regain focus after a distraction. Protecting your learning sessions from interruptions dramatically improves efficiency. Create what I call focus protocols, predetermined procedures for entering and maintaining deep concentration. This might include turning off notifications, using specific apps or tools, or employing techniques like the Pomodoro method. The key is making focused learning the default rather than the exception. The Feynman technique, named after the Nobel Prize-winning physicist, involves explaining concepts in simple terms as if teaching a child. This process reveals gaps in understanding and forces clarity of thought. If you can't explain something simply, you don't understand it well enough. Use this technique regularly to test and deepen your knowledge. The Teach-to-Learn method extends this principle by actually teaching others what you're learning. Start a blog, create YouTube tutorials, or mentor colleagues. The process of organizing information for others forces deeper processing and reveals areas needing clarification. Develop what I call explanation frameworks, structured approaches to breaking down complex topics. This might include analogies, visual representations, step-by-step processes, or real-world examples. Having these frameworks ready enhances both your understanding and your ability to share knowledge. Learning analytics involves tracking your educational progress with the same rigor that businesses track financial metrics. Create dashboards to monitor time spent learning, skills acquired, and practical applications achieved. This data-driven approach helps identify what works and what doesn't in your personal learning journey. The learning metrics system includes both quantitative and qualitative measures, Track hours spent, resources consumed, and skills acquired, but also document subjective experiences like engagement levels, confidence growth, and practical impact. This holistic view provides better insights for optimization. Implement what I call progress visualization tools, visual representations of your learning journey. This might include skill trees, knowledge maps, or achievement timelines. Seeing your progress graphically provides motivation and helps identify areas needing attention. The concept of learning arbitrage involves identifying knowledge gaps in your industry or field and filling them strategically. Look for areas where demand for expertise exceeds supply. This might mean combining traditional skills with emerging technologies or bringing cross-industry insights to solve long-standing problems. The knowledge gap analysis involves systematically scanning your industry for underserved areas of expertise. Use job postings, industry reports, and professional networks to identify skills in high demand but short supply. Position your learning to fill these gaps for maximum career impact. Create what I call opportunity radars, systems for continuously monitoring emerging trends and skill requirements in your field. This proactive approach ensures you're learning skills that will be valuable in the future, not just those that are popular today. Emotional intelligence in learning involves managing the frustration, self-doubt, and occasional boredom that accompany skill acquisition. Develop strategies for maintaining motivation during plateaus. Celebrate small wins. Reframe challenges as opportunities. Your emotional relationship with learning determines your long-term success. The Emotional Learning Journal helps track and manage the psychological aspects of education. Document not just what you learn, but how you feel during the process. Identify patterns in your emotional responses and develop strategies for maintaining positive engagement. Implement what I call resilience protocols, predetermined responses to common learning challenges. When facing difficulty, have specific actions ready. Take a break, switch to a different learning mode, seek help, or revisit fundamentals. This prevents emotional reactions from derailing your progress. The power of analogical thinking cannot be overstated. Drawing parallels between different domains accelerates understanding and sparks innovation. When learning new concepts, actively seek similarities with familiar ideas. This creates mental bridges that facilitate comprehension and retention. The T-analogy generation system involves deliberately creating comparisons between new concepts and familiar ones. Keep an analogy journal where you document effective comparisons. Over time, you'll develop a rich library of mental models that make learning new topics easier. Practice what I call cross-domain translation, explaining concepts from one field, using the language and frameworks of another. This exercise strengthens understanding while developing creative thinking skills essential for innovation. Time boxing for learning involves allocating specific time blocks for different types of educational activities, deep work sessions for complex topics, quick review sessions for reinforcement, exploratory sessions for discovering new interests. This structured approach prevents overwhelm and ensures balanced development. The learning time architecture involves designing your schedule around optimal learning periods. Identify your peak cognitive hours and reserve them for challenging material. Use lower energy periods for review, organization, or exploratory learning. This alignment maximizes the effectiveness of your time investment. Create what I call learning rhythms, regular patterns of educational activity that become habitual. This might include morning reading, lunchtime skill practice, or evening reflection. Consistent rhythms reduce the cognitive load of deciding when to learn. The concept of learning leverage points identifies areas where small improvements yield disproportionate results. In any field, certain skills or knowledge areas have outsized impact, Identify these leverage points and prioritize them in your learning journey. This strategic focus maximizes return on educational investment. The 80-20 learning analysis involves identifying the 20% of knowledge that produces 80% of results in your field. Focus intensive effort on mastering these high-impact areas while maintaining broader awareness of peripheral topics. Develop what I call impact maps, visual representations showing how different skills contribute to your goals. This helps prioritize learning activities based on potential return rather than personal preference or conventional wisdom. Let's explore advanced memory techniques that go beyond simple mnemonics. The method of loci, also known as the memory palace technique, involves associating information with specific locations in a familiar environment. This ancient technique, used by Greek orators, can dramatically improve recall of complex information. Imagine walking through your childhood home. Each room contains specific memories. Now place new information in these familiar spaces. Want to remember a presentation outline? Position key points throughout your mental house. The opening statement in the entryway, supporting arguments in the living room, conclusion by the back door. When presenting, simply walk through your mental home, retrieving information from each location. The semantic network approach involves creating rich associations between new information and existing knowledge. Instead of memorizing isolated facts, build elaborate mental structures where each piece of information connects to multiple others. This creates redundant retrieval paths, making forgetting less likely. Let me illustrate with a personal example. When learning about blockchain technology, I connected it to existing knowledge: databases, cryptography, consensus mechanisms, economic theory. These connections formed a web where understanding one concept reinforced others. Missing one connection didn't break the entire structure. Implement what I call memory anchors, vivid mental images or stories that make abstract concepts concrete and memorable. The more unusual or emotionally charged these anchors, the stronger the memory trace. Combine visual, auditory, and kinesthetic elements for maximum impact. For instance, when memorizing financial ratios, create outrageous mental images. Picture a giant debt monster, debt-to-equity ratio, being chased by a liquidity dolphin, current ratio. The absurdity makes these concepts stick. One client used this technique to memorize 50 key performance indicators in a single afternoon. The neuroscience of sleep reveals its crucial role in memory consolidation. During sleep, your brain replays and strengthens neural patterns formed during learning. Optimize your sleep schedule to enhance learning outcomes. Consider strategic napping after intensive study sessions to boost retention. Research from Harvard. Medical school shows that a 60 to 90-minute nap can improve memory retention by up to 40%. The key is timing. Nap within 3 hours of learning new material. During REM sleep, your brain processes and integrates new information with existing knowledge networks. The sleep learning protocol involves timing your learning activities to maximize the benefits of sleep consolidation. Review important material before bed, allowing your brain to process it during sleep. Upon waking, briefly review the same material to strengthen the neural connections. Create what I call dream journals, specifically focused on learning insights. Often, your subconscious mind continues processing information during sleep, leading to creative solutions or deeper understanding upon waking. Capture these insights immediately for integration into your conscious learning. Thomas Edison famously used this technique. He would hold metal balls while napping. As he drifted off, the balls would drop, waking him to capture semi-conscious insights. Modern learners can use smartphone apps to achieve similar results. The concept of embodied cognition suggests that physical movement enhances learning. Incorporate movement into your study routine. Walk while listening to audiobooks. Use hand gestures when memorizing, or act out concepts physically. This multimodal approach creates stronger memory traces. The kinesthetic learning integration involves deliberately adding physical components to abstract learning. Create movements or gestures that represent key concepts. Use physical objects as learning aids. This engagement of multiple senses enhances both understanding and retention. Medical students often use this technique when learning anatomy. By physically tracing nerve pathways or acting out physiological processes, they create embodied memories that persist far longer than textbook knowledge. Develop what I call learning choreography, sequences of movements associated with specific information. This technique is particularly effective for procedural knowledge or complex processes. The physical repetition reinforces mental patterns. Let's examine the role of nutrition in cognitive performance. Certain foods and supplements can enhance brain function, improve focus, and support memory formation. Understanding the connection between diet and learning can optimize your educational outcomes. The Brain Fuel protocol involves timing your meals and snacks to support optimal cognitive function during learning sessions. Complex carbohydrates provide sustained energy, while proteins support neurotransmitter production. Omega-3 fatty acids enhance neural plasticity. Research shows that blueberries, rich in antioxidants, can improve the memory function within hours of consumption. Dark chocolate contains flavonoids that increase blood flow to the brain. Green tea provides L-theanine, which promotes alert relaxation ideal for learning. Create what I call cognitive nutrition plans, dietary strategies aligned with your learning schedule. Include foods rich in antioxidants, B vitamins, and other nutrients that support brain health. Stay hydrated, as even mild dehydration can impair cognitive function. The psychology of habit formation reveals how to make learning automatic. The habit loop consists of cue, routine, and reward. Design your learning habits with clear triggers, consistent routines, and meaningful rewards to ensure sustainability. Charles Duhigg's research shows that habits form faster when tied to existing routines. The habit stacking method involves attaching new learning habits to existing routines. For example, listen to educational podcasts during your commute, or review flashcards while having morning coffee. This leverages existing habits to establish new ones. Implement what I call learning habit chains, sequences of small habits that build upon each other. Start with tiny commitments that feel almost effortless, then gradually increase complexity as the habits become established. The 2-minute rule states, if a learning task takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. This might mean reviewing a single vocabulary word, reading 1 paragraph, or solving 1 problem. These micro-actions build momentum and overcome procrastination. The concept of learning flow states represents optimal conditions for skill acquisition. In flow, you're fully immersed, energized, and performing at your peak. Understanding how to enter and maintain flow states can dramatically accelerate learning. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi's research identifies key conditions for flow: clear goals, immediate feedback, and balanced challenge-to-skill ratio. Design your learning environment to maximize these conditions. Choose materials slightly above your current level, but not overwhelmingly difficult. The flow trigger system involves identifying and creating conditions that facilitate flow states. This includes clear goals, immediate feedback, balanced challenge levels, and elimination of distractions. Design your learning environment to maximize flow opportunities. Create what I call flow protocols, specific sequences of actions that help you enter optimal learning states. This might include particular music, physical preparation, or mental exercises. Consistent use of these protocols makes accessing flow states more reliable. The importance of metacognition in learning cannot be overstated. Thinking about your thinking allows you to optimize learning strategies, identify blind spots, and adapt to challenges more effectively. The metacognitive journal involves regular reflection on your learning process. Document what works, what doesn't, and why. Analyze your thinking patterns, emotional responses, and strategy effectiveness. This self-awareness accelerates improvement. Develop what I call learning process maps, visual representations of how you approach different types of learning challenges. Identify decision points, common pitfalls, and successful strategies. This external representation of internal process facilitates optimization. The role of technology in modern learning extends beyond simple information access. Artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and adaptive learning platforms offer unprecedented opportunities for personalized education. Consider how AI-powered platforms like Duolingo adapt to your learning pace and style. These systems analyze your performance patterns, identify weaknesses, and adjust difficulty levels in real time. This personalization creates optimal challenge levels for maintaining engagement and progress. The technology integration framework helps identify which tools genuinely enhance learning versus those that merely add complexity. Evaluate technologies based on their ability to provide personalized feedback, adapt to your pace, and create immersive experiences. Create what I call digital learning ecosystems, integrated sets of tools and platforms that support your educational goals. This might include note-taking apps, spaced repetition software, project management tools, and collaboration platforms. Virtual reality offers immersive learning experiences impossible in traditional settings. Medical students can practice surgeries, language learners can explore virtual foreign cities, and history students can witness historical events. These experiences create vivid memories that enhance retention. The concept of learning transfer involves applying knowledge from one context to another. This skill multiplies the value of everything you learn by making it applicable across domains. The transfer practice protocol involves deliberately seeking opportunities to apply knowledge in new contexts. After learning something, ask, where else could this be useful? How might this principle apply in different situations? This mental exercise strengthens transfer abilities. Military training emphasizes transfer through what they call train as you fight. Soldiers practice skills in conditions that closely mirror actual combat. Apply this principle by learning in environments that resemble where you'll use the knowledge. Develop what I call cross-context challenges, exercises that require applying knowledge from one domain to problems in another. This might involve using business principles in personal relationships or applying artistic concepts to technical problems. The psychology of expertise reveals that true mastery requires deliberate practice focused on specific aspects of performance. Random practice or mere repetition doesn't lead to excellence. Anders Ericsson's research shows that experts in any field accumulate approximately 10,000 hours of deliberate practice. However, the quality of practice matters more than quantity. Focus on specific weaknesses, seek immediate feedback, and consistently push beyond comfort zones. The deliberate practice framework involves identifying specific subskills, obtaining immediate feedback, and pushing beyond comfort zones. Design practice sessions that target weaknesses rather than reinforcing strengths. Create what I call mastery maps, detailed breakdowns of skills, into component parts. This allows targeted practice on specific elements while maintaining awareness of how they fit into the larger skill set. The role of community in learning extends beyond accountability. Learning communities provide diverse perspectives, collective intelligence, and opportunities for teaching others. Research from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology shows that collective intelligence emerges from group diversity, not just individual intelligence. Seek learning communities that include people with different backgrounds, skills, and perspectives. The community engagement strategy involves identifying and participating in groups aligned with your learning goals. This might include online forums, local meetups, professional associations, or study groups. Develop what I call learning networks, interconnected relationships that support various aspects of your educational journey. Include mentors, peers, students, and domain experts. Each connection serves different learning needs. The concept of learning agility involves adapting quickly to new information and changing circumstances. In a rapidly evolving world, this meta-skill becomes increasingly valuable. The World Economic Forum identifies learning agility as one of the most critical skills for future success. Develop this capability by deliberately exposing yourself to unfamiliar domains and practicing rapid skill acquisition. The Agility Training Protocol involves deliberately exposing yourself to novel situations and unfamiliar domains. Practice rapid skill acquisition in low-stakes environments to build confidence and capability. Create what I call adaptation exercises, challenges that require quick learning and application of new skills. This might include learning a new software, tool in a day, or mastering a basic skill in an unfamiliar field. The importance of learning documentation cannot be understated. Creating comprehensive records of your educational journey provides reference material, tracks progress, and demonstrates expertise. The documentation system involves capturing not just information, but also context, applications, and insights. Use multimedia formats to create rich, searchable archives of your learning experiences. Develop what I call knowledge portfolios, curated collections of your best work, key insights, and demonstrated skills. These serve as both learning tools and professional assets. Let's explore the concept of learning immunity, building resistance to common educational pitfalls and maintaining consistent progress despite obstacles. The Learning Immunity Framework involves identifying and addressing common barriers to education, procrastination, perfectionism, imposter syndrome, and information overload. Develop specific strategies for each challenge. Create what I call resilience protocols, predetermined responses to learning setbacks. When motivation wanes, have specific actions ready. Change learning modality, seek social support, or review past successes. The psychology of learning identity affects how we approach education. Your self-concept as a learner influences persistence, risk-taking, and ultimately, achievement. Carol Dweck's research on growth mindset demonstrates that believing intelligence is malleable leads to greater learning success. Cultivate this mindset by viewing challenges as opportunities and failures as feedback. Develop what I call learning identity statements, affirmations that reinforce your capability and commitment to growth. Regularly remind yourself, I am someone who learns from every experience, or challenges make me stronger. The concept of learning economics involves understanding the true costs and benefits of education, including time, money, energy, and opportunity costs. The educational ROI calculator helps evaluate learning investments by considering immediate costs against long-term benefits. Include tangible returns like salary increases and intangible benefits like increased confidence or life satisfaction. Create what I call learning investment portfolios, diversified educational pursuits that balance immediate practical skills with long-term foundational knowledge. Like financial investments, maintain a mix of low-risk, high-risk, short-term, and long-term learning projects. The power of learning storytelling enhances retention and makes knowledge more accessible to others. Transform abstract concepts into memorable narratives. The story-based learning method involves creating compelling narratives around new information. Instead of memorizing facts about economic principles, tell stories about how they play out in real-world scenarios. Develop what I call knowledge narratives, personal stories that illustrate key concepts and principles. These narratives serve as memory aids and teaching tools, making complex ideas accessible and memorable. The role of creativity in learning extends beyond artistic pursuits. Creative approaches to education enhance engagement, retention, and application. The creative learning framework involves deliberately incorporating artistic elements into educational processes. Draw concepts, write songs about theories, or create physical models of abstract ideas. Create what I call learning art projects, creative expressions that reinforce understanding. This might include infographics, mind maps, or multimedia presentations that transform information into visual or interactive formats. The concept of learning sustainability ensures long-term educational success without burnout or diminishing returns. The sustainable learning model balances intensity with recovery, challenge with support, and structure with flexibility. Recognize that learning is a marathon, not a sprint. Develop what I call learning rhythms, natural cycles of intense focus followed by integration and rest. Honor your energy patterns and avoid the trap of constant productivity. The importance of learning ethics involves considering the moral implications of knowledge acquisition and application. The ethical learning framework addresses questions like, how will this knowledge be used? Who benefits from this learning? What are the potential negative consequences? Create what I call learning ethics guidelines, personal principles that guide your educational choices. Consider the social impact of your learning and strive to use knowledge for positive change. The psychology of learning courage involves taking intellectual risks and embracing uncertainty in the pursuit of knowledge. The courage development protocol involves gradually increasing exposure to challenging learning situations. Start with low-stakes experiments and progressively tackle more daunting educational challenges. Develop what I call intellectual bravery exercises, deliberate practices that push you beyond comfortable knowledge boundaries. This might include defending unpopular viewpoints or exploring fields where you feel inadequate. The concept of learning legacy involves considering how your educational journey impacts others and contributes to collective knowledge. The legacy learning framework encourages thinking beyond personal benefit. How can your learning help others? What knowledge can you pass on to future generations? Create what I call knowledge inheritance plans, strategies for sharing your learning with others. This might include mentoring, creating educational content, or building systems that facilitate others' learning. The role of intuition in learning involves developing and trusting subconscious pattern recognition alongside analytical thinking. The intuitive learning development process involves paying attention to gut feelings about information and gradually calibrating your intuitive responses through feedback. Develop what I call intuition journals, records of intuitive insights and their accuracy. Over time, patterns emerge that help refine your intuitive learning capabilities. The importance of learning boundaries involves knowing when to stop acquiring new information and start applying existing knowledge. The learning boundary framework helps identify optimal transition points between input and output phases, recognize signs of diminishing returns, and shift to application mode. Create what I call knowledge saturation indicators, personal signals that indicate it's time to pause learning and focus on implementation. This prevents analysis paralysis and promotes action. The concept of learning orchestration involves coordinating multiple educational activities for synergistic effects. The learning symphony model treats education as a complex composition where different learning activities complement and enhance each other, balance theoretical study with practical application, individual work with collaboration, and focused learning with exploratory discovery. Develop what I call educational arrangements, carefully planned sequences of learning activities that create cumulative impact. Like a musical arrangement, each element supports and enhances the others. The psychology of learning joy involves cultivating genuine pleasure in the educational process beyond external rewards. The joy-based learning approach focuses on intrinsic motivation and natural curiosity. Identify aspects of learning that bring genuine satisfaction and structure your education around these elements. Create what I call delight discoveries, regular explorations aimed at finding joy in unexpected learning areas. This maintains enthusiasm and prevents educational burnout. The role of silence in learning involves creating space for reflection, integration, and subconscious processing. The silent learning protocol incorporates deliberate periods of quiet contemplation into your educational routine. These pauses allow information to settle and connections to form naturally. Develop what I call contemplative practices, structured periods of silence dedicated to processing learning experiences. This might include meditation, nature walks, or simply sitting quietly with your thoughts. The importance of learning humility involves maintaining openness to new ideas despite growing expertise. The humble learning framework emphasizes continuous questioning and willingness to revise understanding. Expertise should increase curiosity, not certainty. Create what I call beginner's mind exercises, regular practices that help maintain fresh perspectives despite accumulated knowledge. This might include learning completely unfamiliar subjects or teaching basics to novices. The concept of learning ecology involves understanding how different educational elements interact within your personal learning environment. The ecological learning model treats education as an interconnected system where changes in one area affect others. Consider how different learning activities, resources, and relationships influence each other. Develop what I call learning ecosystem maps, visual representations of your educational environment. Identify key components, their relationships, and potential leverage points for improvement. The psychology of learning transformation involves understanding how education changes not just what you know, but who you are. The transformative learning theory suggests that profound education alters fundamental assumptions and worldviews. Embrace this potential for deep change while maintaining core values. Create what I call identity evolution journals, records of how learning experiences shape your self-concept and worldview. Track not just knowledge gained, but personal growth achieved. As we conclude this journey through the landscape of daily self-education, remember that the path to staying ahead of 99% of society isn't about dramatic gestures or overwhelming commitments. It's about consistent, deliberate action. It's about choosing growth over comfort, curiosity over complacency, and progress over perfection. The strategies and insights shared in this audiobook aren't just theoretical concepts. They're practical tools that have transformed countless lives, including my own. The question isn't whether these methods work. The question is whether you'll commit to implementing them. Your future self is shaped by the decisions you make today. Every book you read, every skill you develop, every insight you gain becomes part of who you are. The compound effect of daily learning creates opportunities you can't yet imagine. As you move forward from this moment, remember that education isn't a destination, but a journey. It's not about reaching a point where you know enough, but about maintaining a mindset of perpetual growth. The most successful people in any field are those who never stop learning, who approach each day as an opportunity to expand their understanding and capabilities. The choice is yours. You can join the ranks of continuous learners who shape the future, or you can remain static in a world that's constantly evolving. The path of daily self-education isn't always easy, but it's infinitely rewarding. Start small. Choose one strategy from this audiobook and implement it tomorrow. Build momentum gradually. Celebrate your progress, and most importantly, enjoy the journey of becoming the best version of yourself through the power of daily learning. Remember, staying ahead of 99% of society isn't about competition with others. It's about becoming the person you're capable of being. It's about living a life of continuous growth, endless possibility, and meaningful contribution. The world needs more lifelong learners, more curious minds, more individuals committed to growth. By embracing daily self-education, you're not just improving your own life. You're contributing to a culture of learning that benefits everyone. So, take that first step. Open that book, watch that tutorial, ask that question. Your journey of daily self-education begins now, and the possibilities are limitless. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of lifelong learning. May your path be filled with discovery, growth, and the joy of continuous education.